Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and I'm so excited to be back. I took 2 weeks off, not planned, but it happened. Um, in case you were wondering, last week was Taylor Swift, and I didn't want to pay $25 to go see it, so I didn't. Week before was The Exorcist that I did say I was gonna watch. I didn't. I didn't want to watch it. I'm sorry. It it just didn't look interesting to me, and I had so little time on my hands that I wanted to do something more productive with my time. But I'm back today, and today we got a lot to talk about. We got the new Martin Scorsese movie. We got a good amount of trailers. We got one, two, three, four, five trailers to talk about. And I want to start with a little bit of news. Sad news. It just came out today as I'm recording it this morning. Actor Richard Roundtree has died. I believe he was 81. I don't want to be wrong about that, so let me look that up. But in case you were unaware, yes, he was 81. Um, he was a very prolific actor. He starred in the Shaft franchise. And that was such a prolific movie when it came out in the 70s. It was at it was around the like black exploitation era, and this franchise just propelled just like black roles in cinema, and he was such an influential figure. And so yeah, it's really sad that he's passed. 81, which it's still like for me that's just way too young. He had cancer, and that it's just terrible. Rest in peace. But yeah, I wanted to start out by mentioning that because he was such an influential figure in the film industry. Moving on. Let's go into some trailers. The first trailer I want to talk about is from Netflix. A lot of streaming trailers today. I think they're all streaming. Yeah, it's kind of weird. We're in that age now of movie theaters are kind of going by the wayside. Makes me sad. I'm still gonna fight the good fight, but here we are. Luckily though, this will be in theaters, limited. But that is Maestro. Is a new Bradley Cooper movie. He is directing and acting in this. I believe his first or movie since A Star Is Born, his second overall directing gig. And this trailer is a biopic about Leonard Bernstein, who was this very famous composer. So Bradley Cooper is still like in that realm of music, like he was with A Star Is Born. And this trailer, it was hard to like piece out what I thought of it, but it looked interesting to me. Just seeing, especially the different filmmaking styles that Bradley Cooper is seemingly going to do with this, having like some sections be black and white, have that pillar box, which is the two black bars on the either side of the screen to show the different like eras of Bernstein's life. That seems very interesting to me. How is he going to play with that? And I don't know anything about Leonard Bernstein, and so just seeing the bits and pieces that we got, like his relationship with Carey Mulligan, the fact that, or I don't know if it's a fact, but the idea that he was maybe harboring a secret relationship behind her back, and but she still knew about it. So that is all very, I yeah, interesting. It looks like that relationship is at the core of this movie, and it will be focused on the music, of course, but it will be a movie about these two people. So that is out December 20th. Theaters November. I didn't see like a specific date. It's out there somewhere. Yeah. Our next trailer, still Netflix. It's called Leave the World Behind. And this is from Sam Esmail, who, if you don't know, he created the show Mr. Robot, which I watched the first, I believe, 3 seasons of. I never got around to the last season. I don't know why. I love the show. Season 3, I did feel ended on a high note, and part of me just wanted it to end that way. I was like, all right, I'm good. But I want to get back to that last season eventually. But this is not a show, it's a feature film. And man, Sam Esmail really likes his tech. This trailer is weird, man. It's like a post-apocalyptic movie, but then mixed with like strangers meeting each other. It's this couple who goes to, I guess, like an Airbnb type place, and one night they get a knock at the door, and it's the actual owners of the place, and they're both trying to get each other out of the house, which like is an interesting concept on its own. But then he adds in this like cyber attack subplot, and the world is ending, which I guess is where the title comes from. And there's this big mystery behind it, and it's Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali. It looks weird. It looks like it could be a little in over its head. I hope it's not. I'm interested to see how those two plot lines converge when I see the actual movie. But for right now, I don't get a sense of where this movie is going and what this movie is, which it's probably purposeful, especially for a trailer. It might have been even the teaser trailer. But for right now, I'm not sure what to think of it. But that movie is coming out December 8th. Once again, November for select theaters with Netflix, because this is one of their Oscar movies. So yeah, looking forward to see that. Who knows what it could be like? We'll find out. All right. Let's move on to Disney. And if you listened to any of these podcasts, especially around this time of year, you know that I love this season. And that season is the Disney Plus awful Christmas movies and TV shows. And let's get into this first one. It is called Dashing Through the Snow. It stars Ludacris and Lil Rel Howery as Santa. And Ludacris plays a non-believer who needs to get the magic back in his life. And he has a young daughter who believes in Santa and believes that Lil Rel Howery is Santa. But Ludacris, he doesn't buy it. This movie looks so bad. It looks so by the numbers. Like, what I just described, it feels like that's almost every other Christmas movie. It's probably even another Disney Christmas movie. I know it feels like the Christmas Chronicles, in a way, with like Santa in real life, and it's a comedian playing him, even though Kurt Russell isn't really a comedian, but you know what I mean. But the thing that really got me when I watched it and I yelled, the stupid Ludacris pun, where Santa says something about the North Pole, and Ludacris says, "Man, that's ludicrous." And like, he might as well wink at the camera. Like, that's ludicrous. It was so bad. And I can't wait to watch this. I don't know what is with me in wanting to watch these awful Disney Christmas specials. But they're just so bad, and I have such a good time watching them and laughing at them. That is out November 17th. So, not a whole long wait for that. About 2-3 weeks. But a week before that, we got something else. We got another Disney Christmas show. And that's The Santa Clauses. Season 2. Yeah. I wasn't expecting another season of this, so I was very surprised when this popped up in my feed. I watched the entirety of season 1 last year. If you want to check out my thoughts, go watch one of those episodes from last Christmas season, like December, November. And that show was insane. It was so weird. It felt like Tim Allen at one point just like went off script and like went on a rant. The humor was all over the place. It was disturbing at times for like a Tim Allen Santa Claus TV show. And this one looks to continue the trend. It looks utterly insane. Fluffy is in it. I don't know what his role is going to be. He's probably going to be the new Santa. Cam from Modern Family, Eric Stonestreet, plays the villain in this season, which, like, the first Santa Claus movie, it was so good. It was so charming, so funny. it didn't have a villain. It was just Scott Calvin trying to figure out this problem. And then every single sequel after that, and the show, it has to have a villain for some reason. You don't need a villain for these for these sequels, please. And it looks like he's this Santa in like Eric Stonestreet plays an evil Santa. He doesn't look that evil in the trailer. Even it looks like he brings this dilapidated like festival back to life. That doesn't scream evil to me. So he's probably gonna end up being a good guy, but just like kooky. But yeah, the one of my notes says the eye patch kid who was in the first one. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Still not funny. He's just trying too hard, and his voice sounds like Roz from Monsters Inc. It man, this is gonna be crazy, and like the other Disney Christmas thing, I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. All right, let's move on. Oh, November 8th. It comes out November 8th. I think I said 17th. 8th. The last trailer I want to talk about comes from Apple TV Plus, Original Films, and Sony Pictures. And it's an epic. And that is Napoleon. So this is a new Ridley Scott film starring Joaquin Phoenix and not Rebecca Ferguson. They were both in Mission Impossible, so I am blinking on that right now. But Vanessa Kirby. And Joaquin Phoenix plays in English Napoleon Bonaparte, not English, American Napoleon Bonaparte. He has no accent whatsoever in this thing. No one has a French accent. Vanessa Kirby has a British accent. It's all over the place. Who knows what the choice behind that was? Maybe really Scott didn't want to stress about it. He's like, just talk like you normally do. Who knows? But so let's go into the actual trailer itself. I really liked the first trailer. I thought that was really cool. It really set the tone of what this is going to be. And this one, I don't know. It felt different. It felt off. It feels like it might be trying a little too hard to put Napoleon on this like pedestal and show him how like not great a man he was, but epic, and because they call him a tyrant in the trailer. So like they're going to show his bad side. But it just felt like they were trying too hard to show all of that, when it's like, you can just show us and we'll get it. And like the music choice didn't fit what it felt like it was trying to do. It feels like this could be a very hit or miss movie. I know Ridley Scott's filmography has been hit or miss these last few years. I mainly focus on his hits because I watch them and I skip the misses. But I'm hoping it's a hit. I'm hoping it's good. This trailer kind of soured me on it a little bit, but I'm hoping for the best. Good thing though, production design. It looks so pretty. It looks so good. You do feel the scale that they were going with this movie, and it has a budget to accommodate with it, like $200 million. So that looks really cool. I am excited to see it on a big screen. That's coming out November 22nd. And yeah, look forward to that. And maybe I'll review that one. Who knows? Moving on. Speaking of an Apple TV Plus film with a $200 million budget from an acclaimed filmmaker, let's talk about the main film today. And that is Killers of the Flower Moon. This is the new Martin Scorsese movie. His first one since The Irishman, so it's been about 4 years, and with COVID and everything, it probably would have been done sooner. But for those of you who don't know, this is about the Osage tribe of Native Americans in 1930s, I believe, Oklahoma, and how they were basically slaughtered for their money. They had all their land taken from them except for this like little patch of land, but the thing was it had oil on it. And from that, they became the richest people, not only in the country, in the world. So they overnight became some of the richest people ever. And it follows Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, who play these awful, awful human beings who create a scheme to take that money from them, and that involves killing a lot of them. Hence, Killers of the Flower Moon. And just going right into this, I am too stupid for this movie. That's the first note I wrote down because I was watching it and I was like, man, I get this, but do I get it? I It felt like a lot went over my head. Part of it was because it's a 3.5 hour movie and I saw it after a long day. Um, and so I might not have all been there. I was a little tired during it, but man, this movie is so good. It is fantastic. Martin Scorsese, like, I haven't seen his entire filmography, but I don't think he's ever made a film I haven't loved or adored. Like, even The Irishman, which a lot of people haven't, like, liked, or there's a lot of discourse around it, whether or not it's, like, very good or very special. I really like that movie. Hugo is one of my, like, childhood favorites. Um, I just watched Taxi Driver. That, like, his films are so fantastic and they're so good, and this is no exception. Starting off, I want to talk about the performances. And there's three that really stand out, but every single person in this film brings their A game. Even the smaller roles, like there's been a lot of discussion about a certain actor who comes in at the last like 30-ish minutes of the film, and there's been talk about, oh, he's like hamming it up, he's not very good. I liked him in this. It worked for what he was trying to do. And I don't want to say who it was, just because those who like didn't see the trailer and because it's at the very end might not know who I'm talking about. But you'll know it when you see it. But the three main performances I want to talk about are Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Lily freaking Gladstone. These three actors are on a whole nother level, especially Lily Gladstone, but especially Robert De Niro. So the film follows mainly Ernest, who's played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his wife. I'm just thinking Lily Gladstone. I'll look that up, but him and his wife and their relationship and the double-sidedness of Ernest, because he loves his wife, but he's also going behind her back and murdering, like brutally murdering all of her family, close family, because he is so greedy and he's out for their money and under the influence of his uncle, Sheriff Hale, who is the sheriff of this town in Oklahoma, who the entire Osage tribe loves Hale. They treat him like a brother, um he's their great best friend. Molly is Lily Gladstone's character, Molly. And the double-sidedness, especially with Robert De Niro's performance of being a friend to these people, and he actually does consider them friends, but then going behind their backs and scheming against them to not only take all their money but kill them all is so devious and diabolical. And the way they portray that in this film is not the way you would expect. It is played so casually. The people in this film, it's like they don't even think what they're doing is wrong. They feel like they are owed this money, that it belongs to them. It should go to them. And Robert De Niro, he acts the same towards the Osage tribe as he does to the people he's like conspiring with to murder them. It is so jaw dropping to see the dichotomy between it, because there's no dichotomy. He he he's like the exact same person to them as he is against them, and it's terrifying in a way to see that this person who has done so much good for these people, who has donated money for them and everything, will turn against them just for some money. And even Leonardo DiCaprio, because he comes into this film and he's a child in this film, basically. The way Leo plays him is very immature, childlike, also just greedy, and he feels like he's not doing anything wrong. There's been a lot of discourse about this movie about Ernest and Scorsese being very sympathetic towards Ernest because he portrays him as someone who loves his wife and like legitimately wants to be with her and loves her family even, but then will still turn around and murder her family. But I didn't see that at all. I felt that it was just showing how immature Leo or Ernest is because he does love his wife, but he doesn't see the error in his ways. And it, like I said, it's terrifying to see this. I was every person in this, or every white person in this movie who is like conspiring against the Osage tribe is just so pure evil and made me so angry about this and what actually happened, because this is a true story. This actually happened in the 1930s, and just the way they play it, it man, it was astounding. And Lily Gladstone, to turn on there, she does so much in this movie with just her eyes and her facial expressions. Like, she acts the hell out of this movie. There's already been a lot of discourse about her, but she she plays this woman who knows that something is going on. She can't quite place what is it and who is doing it, but she knows something bad is happening. And just the look in her eyes when one of her family members dies, or if she is suspicious of someone, it conveys so much when doing so little. And that is what acting should be. It shouldn't be like giving these grand monologues. It should matter in the little things that you do, and that's what Lily Gladstone as Molly does in this film. And so she knocks it out of the park. Leo knocks it out of the park. De Niro knocks it out of the park. And yeah, let's go into more of the technical aspects of the film. The cinematography is so striking and it's so beautiful. I believe they filmed on location. They built their own town for this film, which is why part of the budget is so high. And you can tell that they put their heart and soul into every little detail in this film, because it really shines through when you just see a shot of a landscape or something, especially a certain fire scene. It looks so beautiful. The editing, it's Scorsese's like longtime collaborator. I forget her name, but the editing, like always, it's great. Scorsese's direction is it's so good. I've seen a lot of people compare this to Goodfellas, and I would disagree with that. It does have like that crime film element, especially when you get into these people like plotting these murders, and there's even some comedic parts to it when like they murder someone the wrong way and they're trying to figure out what to do now. But in Goodfellas, Ray Liotta's character, he makes a choice to go out and like to do this, and he makes choices throughout the film and he has autonomy, whereas in he gets the chance to escape and he takes it, whereas in this film, anytime someone gets a chance to escape, and they do have autonomy, don't get me wrong, but they anytime they get a chance, they just dig themselves deeper and they double down and they make it even worse for themselves and everyone else involved, especially in the last hour of this film. Which is it's where it all came together for me. That like the film itself is just so great and so amazing and so powerful and impactful. But there's a specific scene of dialogue between De Niro and Leo, just talking about how they will be seen in years to come and what people will think of them and the things that they've done. And it is so powerful and poignant. It this is a movie that takes place 90 years ago, maybe 100 years ago, and it's still relevant today. It that one little scene of dialogue recontextualized the entire film for me, and it brought it all together, and that's because Scorsese knew what he was doing this entire time. And that's where I say that I'm too stupid for this, because if I I could have picked up on it way earlier, but I didn't. But when I think back to it, it was all there. And yeah, this I cannot stop gushing about this film. It's in my top 3 for sure, but between Barbie and Oppenheimer, I'm not sure where this will play out. Um, One of my only gripes with the film, I guess, is the film is about this Osage tribe, and they get so much to do in this film. And you see a lot from not their perspective, because the movie is not from their perspective, but you see how this impacts them. And I wanted more from their perspective to see how this like directly impacted them. And I wanted more from this movie, but it was probably the right choice. There is a video going around of an Osage person talking about this film, and like basically saying the same thing I did, and how even though he wished that, it's probably for the best that this film wasn't, because that should be told by a person from the Osage tribe, and whereas Scorsese, he just basically paved the way for that to happen, and was telling a story that showed it, but also was showing the atrocities of human nature, which is it does is a theme between a lot of Scorsese movies. But like I said with Goodfellas, at the end, like Scorsese still has some hope for humanity, with where Ray Liotta's characters goes and what he does. But then with this movie, and I don't want to spoil anything, but he it feels like he's kind of lost hope in humanity in a way. He feels like we're all savages, and but in the best way possible, where it not the best way possible, but for film entertainment wise, and just telling a story, and a very impactful story. More technical things, the score I loved. It is so good. It I know a score is good when I feel it in the theater, because a lot of times I'm so focused on the dialogue and what's happening on screen, I might not listen to the score as much. But in this, I was listening to it so much, and they it was so good. Um, One of the big talking points for this film is how it is 3.5 hours long, like 3 and 29, I think, maybe. And there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, it didn't have to be this long. It shouldn't have been." Blah blah blah. It didn't feel like 3.5 hours to me. It felt very quick. That especially the first half of the film, it had a very fast pace where I was very surprised. And like I said before, I wanted even more of this movie, because I felt like it could have gone a little deeper towards the end, when they get into the later part, or not even the later part of Ernest's life, but the the court drama that goes on basically. And I guess just to end this out, the ending. I'm not going to say anything about what the ending is, but it is bold. It takes a big swing, and for me, it pays off, because this this movie is all about how humans can do vile and detestable things, and yet we just keep letting it happen. And some part of us even enjoy it, like for entertainment value. And Scorsese reckons with that, especially like with his past films, because a lot of them have been violent, and they're violent for a reason. Yes, they're to tell a story about human nature, but he is also a perpetrator of just telling these violent and graphic stories, especially if it's based on a true story that has hurt people, and yet you turn it into something for entertainment value. There's something really big to be said there, and Scorsese said it in a way that you will not expect, but in a way that is very powerful and impactful, and will sit with you for days, maybe weeks to come. I'm still thinking about it and parsing through it. This is one of the movies that I'm very glad I took a few days to do a review on. I didn't like Saw. I didn't just come right after I saw it. Saw. I saw it on Thursday, and it's been about a week since I watched it, and I'm still parsing out my thoughts on it and figuring out what it was trying to tell. I definitely want to see this again in the theater. And if you haven't seen it, please go see it. It deserves to be seen on the big screen. If not, it'll be on Apple TV Plus at some point, maybe by the end of the year. But yeah, the story that Scorsese tells, it is just so powerful, and the way that he portrays these characters, especially Ernest and Sheriff Hale, they're so two-sided, but the way they play them is just like they don't care. They don't see that they're doing something wrong. And that just makes it all the more terrifying and believable too. Which yeah, it this movie is amazing. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it like a 95 out of 100. Just those small things that I said, which isn't even the movie's fault, but I still wish I had some more of it. Um, but yeah, that 95 out of 100. Please go see it. This movie deserves to be seen. So yeah, those are my 5 thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Next week, it's time to get spooky again for Five Nights. Five Nights at Freddy's. I will be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. I usually record these on Wednesdays and see the movie maybe on a Thursday. And so I'm seeing it tomorrow, and the review embargo still is not out yet, which is like 24 hours from now. That's usually not a good sign. So we'll see how this goes. I'm looking forward to it. If it's bad, I'll probably have a good time laughing with it or at it. And if it's good, I saw a good movie. So either way, I win and you win because you'll get a review out of it. And you will, I promise. But until next time, that's a wrap.